Make it at 2 hours.
You're good, Mitch.
All right. Council Vice President.
Oh, Marianne, we're just starting now. All right,
Madam Clerk, call the roll.
bye-bye. No, no problem. Bye-bye.
Oh,
6:02.
call to order 6:02 and the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, roll call.
Councilmember Brescher.
Here,
Councilmember Coyle. Councilmember Harris.
Here.
Councilmember Patel.
Here.
Councilmember Patil.
Here.
Councilmember Pointer.
Present.
Councilmember Shmuel.
Where is he? That was wasted.
All right. So now I just want to take a moment of silence for the passing of David Amata, our former employee, just retired on December 31st, 2023. Madam Clerk, adequate notice?
Adequate notice of this meeting as required by the Open Public Meeting Act has been provided by an annual notice sent to the Home News Tribune, Star Ledger, Desi Talk, and in Newest India Times on December 12, 2023, and posted in Main Lobby Municipal Complex on that same date.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Reports from all council committees, starting with Councilman Brescher.
none at this time, sir.
Councilman Coyle.
None, sir.
Council Vice President.
Yes. The Cultural Arts Committee meeting was unfortunately canceled last night due to the inclement weather, waiting for a rescheduled date for that. I was not present at the reorganization meeting for the library board. I was just landing at the airport in Newark when they were meeting, but I did get the minutes. And so at the reorg meeting, the president was, the elected president again is Patricia Massey, and vice president is Sue Cason O'Neill, secretary Lisa Krause, and treasurer Fiona Mead. There were the resolutions that included the meeting dates, which are generally going to be the second Tuesdays of the month, which would be at 7 o'clock here in council chambers. They had a resolution to approve the library auditor for 2024, so Supley, Clooney and Company was approved. The resolution to approve the library attorney for 2024 was Brady Greenan LLC, and that was approved. Resolution to approve newspapers of records for 2024 are the Home News Tribune, Star Ledger, and the Sentinel. Those were approved. Resolution to approve this official bank 2024, TD Bank, was approved. Resolution to approve administrative salaries for 2024, those were approved. And the resolution to approve closed days and holidays for 2024-25, those dates were approved as well. And that's all I have for the library board. And the first meeting of the animal shelter is going to take place next Tuesday at the shelter at 12 noon. And so we look forward to the partnership that we're going to have with the shelter employees and with Ross Lasitra and the others. So we're really looking forward to getting that going. I believe that is all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice President. Councilman Patil.
None at this time.
Thank you, Councilman Patil. Councilman Pointer.
Thank you, Council President. The Deer Management Subcommittee will be having a meeting on Wednesday, January 31st, here in Council Chambers at 2 o'clock p.m. And the Smart City Advisory Committee will be meeting on Thursday, January 25th, 7:30 p.m. here at Council Chambers. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Councilman Pointer. Councilman Shmuel.
None at this moment. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to point of lights. Any councilmen or council members have point of lights?
Yes, Council President.
Council Vice President?
First of all, we have this coming Saturday from 1 to 4, I believe it is. It's the MLK Day event that's held at Minnieville, and all are welcome to attend that particular event. Also, this coming Saturday, over at Haley's Harp and Pub in Metuchen is going to be, and that's from 12 to 4, I believe, is going to be it's going to be an event there to donate to the animal shelter. So animals will be there for people to view and consider. And I believe Haley's Harp is going to be donating half its proceeds during those hours to the animal shelter. So that's a really good thing. Council President Patel mentioned the passing of David Amata yesterday, and this is indeed a big loss. And I know this is points of light, and this isn't a typical points of light type of item, but for many people, David Amata was a point of light. And he worked faithfully for the township for about 20 years. He had just recently retired and sadly died suddenly last night. And so we are awaiting the arrangements, the information about arrangements for him, and he will be missed. And I want to send sincerest condolences to all his friends, which were many, and family. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Vice President. Any other council members?
Council President, actually, the passing of Deva Amata is not really point of light, but I wholeheartedly agree with my council colleague. In fact, I'm not only shocked, but I don't have words. In fact, when I read the email, I felt I shouldn't be joining tonight's council meeting. I knew Dave for a long time and I celebrated many good moments with him and Lisa, especially special friends events at Minnieville. He was very energetic, positive, and always around to help the people. I know whether it's a political campaign, whether it's a personal help, whether it is any event, you call and one person you can count was Deva Amata. He was always there, especially for me when I called. And I don't have a lot of words here, but certainly he will be missed. Rest in peace. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Councilman Patil. Any other council members? All right, and for me, I just want to make an announcement about MLK Holiday on Monday, January 15th. The Monday's garbage and recycling will be picked up on Tuesday, on January 16th, and Tuesday's garbage will be picked up on Wednesday, January 17th, and Tuesdays and Wednesdays recycling will remain as scheduled. I also want to mention that there will be no scheduled eco tour this weekend, but if you are interested in the Middlesex Greenway, before it was a greenway, it was a railroad, the Lehigh Valley Railroad. Metuchen Edison Historical Society is presenting the program Lehigh Valley Railroad Across New Jersey by Ralph Heiss. If you're interested in it, it'll take place Saturday, January 13th at 1 p.m. at the First Aid Squad number 2 on New Dover. Moving to administrative agenda from Mayor Sam Joshi. There are 3 notices of appointment. Members to Human Relations Committee, Rupal Patel and Rashid Khan. Also, we are adding John Soltes as a Class 2 member of the Planning Board, term expiring December 31st, 2025, and appointing Leonard Solendesky as Class 4 member of Planning Board, term expiring December 31st, 2027. Moving to the agenda from Business Administrator, 7A, resolution authorizing a professional service contract to Bignell Planning Consultant, Inc. for planning consulting services and to serve Acting Director Administrative Officer, not to exceed $175K. B, resolution awarding contract purchase orders to CDW Government Incorporated through Educational Service Commission of New Jersey Cooperative Pricing System for the purchase of various technology supplies and services, $50,000. And C, resolution authorizing extending contracts with various township professionals until February 29th, 2024. And I will open up for questions. Any council members? Okay, none. Moving on to 8, Department of Finance. A, resolution authorizing refund in the amount of $487.58 for the redemption of tax sale certificate. Resolution, that's fine. B, resolution authorizing refund for tax overpayment totaling $3,294.49. C, resolution of taxes for authorizing cancellation and refund of taxes for exempted disabled veterans. D, resolution approving corrective action plan for 2022 audit. E, ordinance of Township of Edison, canceling $1,945,740.71 in bond authorization, and also the proceeds not needed for original purpose, and transferring $671,327 to proceed to capital fund balance. F, bond ordinance providing for various capital improvements in and by Township of Edison, appropriating $7.9 million and therefore, and authorizing the issuance of 7,505,000 bonds or notes for the township. And G, bond ordinance providing of various water main system improvements for water utility in and by Township of Edison, appropriating $9.5 million. Any questions from the council members? Actually, before we open it up for the questions, Sonia, can you take us through the 3 bonds and just give a quick summary? 3 ordinances.
Sure. If you'd like, I can go in detail in terms of the bond ordinance.
Sure.
Okay, so in terms of the second bond ordinance, sorry, there's a feedback here. What we're covering in this bond ordinance is additional funding for various improvements throughout public works, our buildings, alterations. This is all of our municipal buildings, not just this building in particular. Then there are furniture, fixtures, equipment, workstations. As you all know, we're working through the animal shelter, so we're looking to do some renovations. So this covers a lot of the in-house work that we're also doing. In Public Works, we have I'm sorry, there's a terrible feedback here. The municipal generator, which we've had here some issues, so we need to revamp that generator here. We have work in various firehouses that, quite frankly, in the last 23 years, a lot of work has not been done, so we're looking to put a lot of investment into that infrastructure of our firehouses. For Public Works, we've, as you all mentioned, there's some signage that we're working through, so there's about $250,000 just on that. Additionally, we're looking to redo the Stelton Community Center. So the breakdown of this goes to a roof replacement through some remediation work. I know Councilman Brusher did a walkthrough yesterday, so he saw firsthand some of the work that we were looking to get done in there, as well as create an additional community space for our residents. The other one is for the health department. We're trying to put out an RFP for architectural firms to put in a design in that space, possibly to go up and create a medical examination room, especially with our partnership with the Monmouth SPCA. And then the other additional costs are Section 20 costs. So what those are for our professionals that do the work, our engineering firms, consultants, those costs, and as well as our engineers, we can charge for specific projects. We can charge the work that they do out of the Section 20 costs. So that would be the remainder of what we put in for 2023. We just had to break it out into 2 bond ordinances because of down payment purposes. Now that that's fully funded, and certainly Ken can provide a little more elaboration on terms of the finance component of what we're doing with the bonding. The other bond ordinance is for the various ACO, which is the consent order from the DEP of work we need to do for water and sewer remediation. There's a list there that provided to everybody in terms of one. The major one right now is, one of the major ones is McGinnis. There is a huge problem our residents in that area are facing with browning of water. and that needs immediate attention. So we're hoping again to present this to the council. We're hoping at a later date that we can put on the other bond ordinance for the meter. I know we called it a smart meter, but these are, they're smart in a sense where the technology is much different. There's more of an immediate reporting that we could provide. We're really trying to build our infrastructure this year to elevate it to the point where we're more efficient in what we do. So those are those two bond ordinances. There's the other one. The water and the special notes. So I'll have the cancellation for the bond ordinances. So if you want to just cover that, Ken?
Yes, so the number E, where we're canceling bond authorizations, these go back to 2001 through 2015, and under tax law, since we issue tax-exempt debt, we should not have that money sitting around. We can't use it because the authorizations are so old. So this is just a matter of housekeeping, where we're cleaning up our balance sheet, canceling those out. That'll free up more funds into capital surplus, which we could use in the future for debt reduction or towards future capital projects.
Thank you, Ken. Thank you, Sonia. Now open up to the council members for questions. Anyone have a question?
Yeah, Council President.
The Vice President?
Not a question, but a comment in laying out the specifics of the bond ordinance on F. I'm very pleased about the bond ordinance for the Stelton Center. It's about time, and I'm pleased about, I know these are big repairs that need to be made, but I'm very pleased. My understanding is that this is going to go towards a community center and also a special needs center, that part of it is going to be dedicated for special needs, what they had originally been talking about moving into the current Clara Barton Library, but now is going to be there. And I think this makes a lot of sense, and I think the building goes back to 1923 or something like that, and I'm really glad it's going to be repurposed. I'm actually interested in hearing what Councilman Brescher found during his walkthrough yesterday, so I'm going to leave it to him to talk about.
Okay. Any other council members that want to make a comment or questions?
Yes.
Councilman Drescher?
Council President. There's a couple issues. The one was the old Stelton School, which I did take a walk through the other day. And we did review where we're going to spend the money, but I guess what I'd like the public to know is once we invest this money into the Stelton Community Center, it's not going to be the place that you're going to go and go, wow, I love this. This is, this spectacular. The $3.7 million is basically going to get us a roof. It's going to get us some asbestos removal. It will get us heating and air conditioning so we can acclimate the space and we no longer have like plaster or paint that'll be peeling off the walls, and some minor renovations. So, with this 3.7, I think this is needed. I think it's something that we need to do to secure the building. But I believe that the township needs to invest maybe another couple $1 million after this gets done. I think maybe to bring it up to something where we'd say, I like this. Business Administrator?
And I certainly agree with what your assessment. What the township has been doing proactively is seeking out grants. So we're working on that. So we're hoping to get that additional funding to cover the programming aspect of what it is we're trying to do. And of course, we'll include our seniors on there as not only with the special needs community.
Thank you. So, yes, that's just where I was going with it. We're making an investment, but the investment is just to keep the wheels on the cart kind of thing. It's not a new cart that we're getting. And that'll take a substantial investment in the future. But I think once we secure the building, I think that's a good first step. And then I think moving forward, looking at everything, I think we'll come up with a great plan for that building. It's good to see that we're using it now in any way. The other one I had that I wanted to talk about was the corrective action plan. Okay, and I've been speaking about things on there for some time now, and I get the feeling that nobody listens. Okay, so there's a couple issues that came out of the auditor's report. The one was the insurance, right, where we don't have enough money to cover the insurance, and that was evident because we needed to borrow $1 million last year. But what the public doesn't realize is the township went to a self-insured, which is something that they did many years ago, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago, and that was great. That was a one-term shot in the arm that allowed the township to probably gain 1/4 or $8 or $10 million in usable revenue. The problem with that is that if we ever want to change back for whatever that reason is, the township will have an $8 or $10 million hole. So the township should have this money, as the audit report says, we should have this in the budget, and it should be there. So I'm hoping that we take part of this, we take light of what the auditor said, and we see this included in this year's budget. I know last year I did ask that our insurance be increased at the budget because I had a feeling it wasn't going to cover. The other one that's a real sore point for me, and it's kind of like you borrowing money to pay for your food, is we have funding that we are supposed to put away for employees' sick time, vacation time, and personal days. And what I've heard is we have employees and they don't use all their time, so the time gets carried forward and they're allowed to carry the time. And then when that employee goes to retire, the township has to pay them out somewhere around, $80,000, $110,000. Okay, and the problem with that is we bond for that. So we're bonding for that at the point of millions of dollars a year that we're saddling future taxpayers for time that was accumulated during my time here. So while I've lived in Edison now for 30 years, and a lot of these employees are retiring, I never actually got to contribute and make those payments towards them because the township never carried that money in their budget. So what they end up doing is they end up bonding for it at the end of the year, which is $8 or $9 million. So when I move or pass away, whatever happens, the people that are living in my house now are going to have to pay for those employees for the 30 years prior. And I've been talking about putting this money in there, and the last year we talked about putting more money so we could cover it, and I was told that we did. So I'm suspecting I'm not going to see another bond moving forward. Would that be correct?
That is our hope, and that's why we funded the operating account versus a capital bond ordinance.
Okay, that one was just for the record. You know what I mean? So I appreciate that. Thank you. Oh, and on the water, a little pet peeve we have. We're investing in water. Can you tell me that if we approve this bond, that our residents will not have brown water after this money is spent?
Yes, that is the infrastructure fix that we're hoping to make with this bond ordinance.
Very good. I just want to make sure we had that covered because I've seen pictures on the internet and it wasn't flattering. But knowing that this will take care of that, that's a good thing that we're invested in the infrastructure. So I do appreciate that. That would be a council president. Thank
Thank
you.
you, Councilman Besher. Any other council person?
Council President?
Councilman Pointer?
Just to piggyback off of the water bond, I think that these are investments that are absolutely necessary, particularly McGinnis. That's the brown water that Councilman Rescher just mentioned. They've been dealing with that for years now. When I first got on, that was one of the first emails that I actually received as a council member. So I'm thrilled that this is back up here to hopefully be able to remediate their water quality issue that's going on. I'm also very happy to see that and hopeful that we proceed with the smart hydrants. My understanding is that the proposal is for 18 caps that would be placed on the smart hydrants or on our fire hydrants throughout the township. These caps would help monitor water flow throughout the township. So if there's a decrease anywhere, we would be able to get that detection ahead of time and be able to be proactive versus reactive. Obviously, with it being a fire hydrant aspect, from fire safety, we want to make sure that our water flow is continuous, is at high levels, so that in the event of an emergency, that we can be active and situate that. So I'm happy to see that this is back on the agenda, and I look forward to supporting it. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Councilman Pointer. Any other council person that wants to make a comment or questions?
Council President, I
Councilman?
just want a point of clarification. Of the 33,000 water customers, we have 11,000 approximately. Does a portion have some brown water? Not the entire 11,000 customers. And I'm happy to see that the streets that they're mitigating will be cleaned and fixed. So it's a wonderful opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Coyle. As for me, I actually had a question for Ken. For the self-insurance, I saw some notes. Can you go through it a bit more for me? So,
With
as to
respect to the corrective action plan?
yes.
Yes, so we fund and have been historically funding our self-insurance, as Councilman Brescher pointed out. It is sufficient to pay current claims. But if we were to terminate that policy and go to a third party like Blue Cross Blue Shield or Aetna for health insurance, we'll still have liabilities hanging out there from the period that we self-insured that will still need to be paid. And that could be as high as $5 million to $10 million. We don't know the exact amount, but it's more than $1 or $2 million. So that's the challenge that we have, and that's why the auditors continue to fund it. So in the past years, that's been an item in the budget that was easy to cut. And so we've been on this slippery slope of not having sufficient funding. This has been going on for years. So with administration, we've been attempting in the budget to increase the funding. In 2023, we had the largest increase in funding for that, and we were hoping to do the same in the 2024 budget.
Okay. All right. And then in terms of, hold on. So for the smart hydrant, I agree with Councilman Pointer. I agree this is a safety issue. We want to make sure that when the firefighters get to the hydrants, they want to know that there's going to be water there to fight the fire, and not find out at the moment that there's not enough pressure or the water that is not there. And definitely we need to take care of the brown water situation. And I agree with Councilman Rusher that this is a good start to the Stelton Community Center, but as Sonia said, we need to put more grants and fundings, and I think we will get there. It'll just take time. All good things does take time. So thank you for that. Now moving on to number 9, from the Department of Planning and Engineering. A, resolution to release, well, I'm not going to read all this. I'm just going to say A through I. Any questions on A through I, or any comments from council?
This is for 9?
Yeah, 9A through I.
Yes, I have 2. What's going on with all the trucks? I see we have the SUVs on I, but I noticed throughout we're rejecting bids.
So that question was answered in the emails. It was, I think, asked by Councilman Pointer. Hold on, let me find it. The public safety vehicles were purchased through another co-op, and this was approved by council at the meeting in December, and the other vehicles were rejected since the township will begin purchasing hybrid vehicles for non-emergency personnel. So that's why they're essentially changing the scope.
Okay. All right. And we had the change order for the tote center. And I see that this is an oil tank that was removed.
Mm-hmm.
But we never did the paperwork to remove an oil tank. So like when I have to do it, right, I have to take out a permit and I have to go through testing and everything else. So the township did it and we just took it out of the ground. We didn't do any testing of the site or anything. And my question is, who would be responsible for that and who did that?
I will
So
leave it to
so
Sonia.
if I may, I did provide a copy of the permitting that was done back in 2020. So that would have been something then. I don't have an answer for you in terms of why that may not have been done. However, the permitting was done. There was a certification for the removal that was done. However, when we started to do the construction and we were doing our due diligence, this was obviously one of the little speed bumps, I would call, that we are dealing with, but it is not hindering the project from moving forward.
Well, I guess here's where my concern is. We removed an oil tank. I'm going to say that we did it legally and correctly. I don't find anyone to want to do illegal things. So then that would lead me to believe that we couldn't find the paperwork, for the monitoring or whatever else we needed to do, or the sampling of the soil. So either somebody lost paperwork, right, and we need to kind of fix that, hold that person accountable or that department, and come up with a plan that we don't lose records anymore, or the testing and all this was never done, in which case, again, somebody else should be held accountable. And I mean, either way, it's going to cost us, right? I mean, because we need it done. I do understand that. My question is that to me, a mistake was made somewhere here, and who made the mistake, and what, as a business administrator, what are you doing to implement something that things like this don't happen, whether it's procedures aren't being followed or whether they're lost records, you know what I mean? Either one. So if you can get to the bottom of that and give us an update on that before next meeting, maybe?
Sure. I mean, I can certainly explain to you. I think part of the process and that we're correcting and the way in which we found this is doing our due diligence when we're embarking on projects. So having discovered this is part of the implementation process, doing our due diligence, making sure that we're serving the property. So that is much more of what we're implementing in this administration. Again, I can't speak to what was done in 2020. The permitting was done. The paperwork was completed for the permitting part of it. However, I can't speak to the follow-up, but we're certainly making sure we're doing the right thing to having that building back up and running, hopefully by the end of the year, so.
Okay, I guess where I'm going with it is,
I think
this happened 3 years ago, correct?
I don't want to go too back and forth on this. If anything, we can take this offline.
Well, all I'm looking for is to find out who is responsible and what's their plan moving forward.
If there is someone that needs to be held responsible, Sonia, please email Councilman Brescher in regards to it. Thank you. All right, moving.
Council President, so you're telling me that there's a possibility no one could be responsible?
I'm not sure, but I said if there is someone. You're assuming that there is.
Well, I'm saying, right,
But
it's
either way, I don't want
somebody's
to go
job.
back and forth on this. That's all
We
I'm
don't
saying.
have to do back and forth, but what I'm just...
Do you have any other questions on this? I'm sorry.
No, not in there.
All right. Any other council members with any questions or any comments? No? All right. Moving forward to 10, from Department of Public Works. If there's only one, resolution accepting bid and awarding a contract to Site 1 Landscape Supply for grounds material. Any questions or comments? Seeing none?
Council President?
Yes, Councilman Brescher?
Yes, this is just for us to buy more landscape material, right?
Yes.
But only the material that was shown on that bid sheet. Like there were, let's say, 300 items, but they only actually gave us bids on, I think it was maybe like 30 items.
Yeah, I don't think they bid on everything from what I understand, right, Sonia?
Yes. The bid summary sheet, you'll see there the quantities.
Right.
Included in that is the either a pickup or delivery, but that was no bid, so that wouldn't be included in there. But part of that is the topsoil mulch, things that we do throughout the township.
Okay, and so it's just the stuff that's listed that we have dollar amounts on, not all the other items that they were asked to bid. Okay, thank you.
All right, number 11, from
Council President?
Councilman
Sorry,
Pointer, sorry about that.
My apologies. I do have a question on A for the ground materials. At the end of the bid, there was a note that said 20% off the list price. Does that occur after the fact, or is the pricing that was on there already the 20% reduction?
I'll have to follow up for you on that.
Thank you.
Okay. Moving on to number 11, from the Chief of Fire. A, resolution rejecting public bid 231030, mid-size pickup truck. Any questions or comment?
Yes, Council President, and I'm going to be asking this about 12 as well. Is this also about moving to hybrid or electric vehicles? Is that why these bids were rejected?
So on the fire and the police side, those were purchased through a co-op, so that's why they're being rejected. For the planning and engineering, those were part of the hybrid turnover that we're looking to do, but these were actually purchased through a co-op.
Oh, okay, all right, thank you.
Moving on to 12, from Chief of Police, very similar. A, resolution rejecting public bid 231201, police pursuit rated vehicles. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, moving on to 13, from the Township Clerk. Resolution appointing Councilmember John Pointer to the Planning Board, Class 3 member, term expiring December 31st, 2024. Any questions or comments?
Council President,
Councilman Patil?
and I'm very happy to see that Councilman Pointer is going to the planning board because he's very thorough in analyzing every single case, and I'm very hopeful that this council will be able to learn many more things in detail about every single case. Again, thank you. Thank you for appointing him.
Thank you, Councilman Patil.
Yes.
Council Vice President?
Just want to say I'm delighted with that appointment. Thank you.
Council President. Oh.
Councilman Brusher?
Council President, I just want to make sure we allow moving the time for his report from 90 seconds to 2 full minutes. Because I don't want him, I feel 2 minutes he'd be happy with.
I
Thank you.
concur. Councilman Brusher?
Yes, Council President, I normally don't agree with my council colleague, but Councilman Pointer, I think, is a little too thorough, which makes our meetings go a little too late. But beyond that, I have a question, and I've asked this before and never got an answer. This body, this council, we have authority over the zoning board, and the mayor has authority over the planning board. Is that correct? Yeah. Then why do we send somebody to the planning board since it's not one of our boards? Like, wouldn't it make more sense to send somebody to the zoning board?
Would you volunteer yourself?
No, absolutely not. I'm just, I asked this before and no one, oh.
Okay. I will let Hank answer that.
Oh, there is. It's a statute.
Good evening. Under the state statute 40:55D, I think it's 23, it talks about the membership of the planning board. There's 4 classifications. Class 1 is the mayor or his designee. Class 2 is a municipal employee. You get to appoint every year. I think it was John Soltis for tonight. Class 3 is a council member from the council. The council appoints its member to the planning board. And then class 4 are all the regular members of the public. They're allowed to be chair people. They're up to 4-year terms. And then there's 2 one-year appointments. They're all done by the mayor. I think he just sends it out here as a courtesy. They're his appointments. The only appointment to the planning board that you have is your own member. And then you do have complete control over the zoning board under the statute.
And there's nothing in the statute says we send anyone to the zoning board, right?
You send everybody to the zoning board.
Oh, okay.
You pick the members. There's no council member that goes to the zoning board.
Yes.
That's your question. No.
Because we send everybody there.
You send everybody there.
Okay.
They're
that
your
actually
representatives.
makes very good sense.
1975 was the law put in place, so you know. All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Hank.
That'd be it, Council President.
All right, and for me, I am very glad that Councilman Pointer has decided to take this up. He was my guide last year, and he does a much better job than I ever could. So thank you very much for that.
Council President, if I can just make a quick comment. Presuming this gets approved, one of my New Year's resolutions was for a more concise report this upcoming year. So
Okay.
that's a goal. Can't guarantee it will happen, but
You know,
as
New
a
Year's
goal.
resolution never actually followed through. No one follows through on those. But either way, let's take a, do we take a roll call on this? No? Okay. Okay. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. Moving on from the council member to the planning board, that will be me. So this is my last report because I didn't do it last time. I'm just going to quickly read it through. It wasn't very interesting. We moved Just Nation case P22-2022 to January 29th. Case number P16-2022 was also carried to January 29th. We amended the Chapter 37 zoning by creating a new RC zone, which we sent from here, and it was passed with no nays, all yes. Old business, P11-2022, 75 Carter Drive, Edison LLC. The applicant was seeking final site approval with restriping of the existing parking lot. This was motioned to pass. And new business, none of them was heard because we did not have a court stenographer. And the case P0523, Richard Place, is being carried to January 29th. Case P08779, New Durham, is being carried to January 29th. And case P19-2023 is also being carried to January 29th, 2024. And that will be my last planning board report till once John takes over. All right, so now we have the discussion items. First, I will open up to Councilman Brescher. I see 3.
Yes. I have 2 more items that are added. One is I'd like to just formally say to David Amato and his family and his friends, that I give you my condolences. I knew Dave, very nice individual. It was very saddening to hear what happened the other day. So I just wanted to put that out there. The other was, I know all over the news we had these things about immigrants and everything else, and I know that this council has brought up to the administration over the last 2 years about people coming here. But my question is, I believe that law enforcement is not allowed to ask any individual about their status, whether they're illegal immigrants or they aren't. I'd like to see if the chief can, tell me whether that's true or not.
Good evening, everybody. Yes, Councilman. So unfortunately, in regards to dealing with a potential immigrant situation, our hands are tied in a lot of regards in questions that we can or can't ask of someone. And so, yes, to answer your question, the answer is yes for that.
Okay, and that came up because to me, what happened here over the last week was, call it politics. I don't know. It was to me, our mayor wanted to end up in the newspaper, and that's what he did. But by law, we can't go around asking people getting off a bus whether they're illegal immigrants, because the Attorney General gave guidelines to that. And then for us to put them on a bus and ship them somewhere else, he would need approval by this body to spend the money. So to me, that just seemed like a whole political thing to get name recognition. And that's my opinion. The next thing I'd like to talk about are the ward system. The residents have talked about this for a while, and the question came up whether the council could put the ward system on the ballot and leave it up to the voters to decide. And if this council could, do we get to decide whether it's a November election or a June election or an April election? So that question would be to our attorney.
I'm not entirely certain how to set that up. if you'd have reached out to me, I probably could have looked into it before right now. But I'm happy to look into that, get back to you about exactly what your responsibility from the council's perspective is in introducing that and seeing if it can go to a vote.
Right.
Because you want to change the designations within the township, right? If I understand correctly?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
To like a ward system where you would expand it or whatever that might be. But
Yep.
I know that by petition we can do it. But
Yeah.
I'm wondering what that takes for this body, because when we did the last water Suez thing, it was the people that went and did it, which didn't bode well for sitting elected officials at the time. And I think this body should have the same opportunity with the wards as was given with the Suez. So if you can just get back to me on that one.
Certainly.
The other was, I've been asking about, I call it a dump. In the email that came back to me, it said landfill. So I guess we can differ on the word. But I'm looking for the reports over the last few years, because we have to do monitoring on there and things of that nature. And I know that it was said that, engineering went out to go look at it or something, or is reviewing it. But I'm looking for these documents on this.
If I may, Council President?
Sonia, go ahead.
Currently, we don't have a report. What happened is again, this is a prior issue before. Obviously, it's a decade issue, as you all know, with the landfill and closure. What we did was pick it back up because there's some grant money tied to it, to the land closure, to the landfill closure, rather. Where we did a walkthrough with DEP, it's still being looked at, our engineering. We did, if you recall back late last year, we put an RFP out for engineering services for the landfill. We're working with that professional. So it's gonna take a little bit of time to get that to you. Obviously, it'll go back to this body for any approval of remediation, funding, spending of funds, things of that nature. So right now, I do not have a report for you.
Okay, could you go to that engineering firm, right? Ask them when they start it, and have them send you a list of whatever documents they might have to date. And I'll tell you where I go with that. This was part of a conversation I guess we had about the Jets field, it's really a follow-up is what it is. By me asking and then producing documents, I know then they're going to be working on it, because 6 months from now we can look at those documents compared to the documents from 6 months from now. So it's really a follow-up type thing. Okay, the other one I just forgot. I'm sorry. Here's another one I'm looking to get information on, because I don't
Councilman
understand.
Brasher,
Oh,
we have Hank who can answer some questions on the landfill.
okay.
Councilman, good evening. I walked the landfill recently with the new consultant, along with our engineer, and the people from DEP. And it's a very troubling site. So that's going to be a pressing matter for the council in the months to come. As far as the department goes, I have several boxes of things that I've inventoried that were just stacked up in the office. So we have all that stuff. If you want to come up and spend an hour, we can go through all that paperwork. It's very difficult to see what you're looking for. As far as new reports, I haven't generated any of those yet. We will moving forward, because Sonia has mandated that we get this stuff rolling again, so we protect the money that we got from the state to do the closure work. It's my understanding that there's a substantial amount of money that's been held in escrow over the years, so that we can start doing that work, but it's going to be substantial. But again, I've just got done inventorying the boxes of all the old reports and things that we have. Some of the stuff is outdated, but you're certainly welcome to come up and see any of that. We can arrange that for you anytime.
All right, I'll give you a call to set that up, just so I can go through that. But yeah, if we can get an update from the engineer, and if he has absolutely nothing and he's done nothing, that's an okay answer.
No, they've already reached out to Trenton. They already know the limits of the landfill itself. I think we go past our limits, so there's some issues there. There's some old stuff that they dug out from the state, so we are working on it, and they haven't really issued a report yet. We only had one meeting out in the field, and it's only been about 30 days. So And it was very cold the last day I was out there. So, but we are working on it. And you can certainly come up and we can have that for you.
Right. I'm just looking to do the follow-up because I noticed that that's when the ball gets dropped because we
Well,
don't do follow-up.
it's in my lap now, and I don't plan on dropping the ball.
All right.
Okay,
Thank
sir.
you.
Thank you, Hank.
And then I have this last item, which I don't really understand. I hope our attorney can maybe help or the business administrator. So I became aware that we have money that goes into a trust account that is supposed to be spent to help with our low income obligations is what I'm going to say. And I did get reports that showed that we spent money, right? And this body knows that we did because we approved closing costs for people or a down payment for people. So we do know that some money has been spent. But I'd like to know who decides who gets this money, who the people are, the names of the people. I'd like to know if they receive any kind of compensation or if anybody within the organization receives any compensation or they pay rents or any type of expenses because let's say there was $12 million, $2 million got spent like in-house. So I'm looking for what we spent that $2 million on over this time. And yeah, it's really like the spending of the money and the people that are in charge of this and who makes those decisions within the township of Edison, right? Like I know that we give it to 4 or 5 different groups, right? And they spend it appropriately because they come to us and they say, this is what we're going to spend it for. But who's actually looking at all of this and doing this?
So I think the question is, who's the authority that decides this?
So under this body, we go to you and you approve the affordable housing budget. That's one of the components of it. The other component is that we have a CGP&H, which is Community Grants Planning and Housing. They're all over the state, quite frankly. So they administer the program itself. As I'd given to the council president to distribute to all of you, there is a maximum income limit qualification. There's a table here that would then qualify a household to that, would determine exactly what amount they would be receiving. There's a list. It's a fairly large list. There's a waiting list. And again, there's a list of qualifications that I'd sent over as far as how the administrator of this would work, and that's CGP&H.
How the administration, right, that's, I guess what I'm looking for is somebody authorizes these funds to come to us. So somebody takes all these applications from these different groups, right? And somehow it goes from those people and their applications to this body that votes yes or no on it. And I'm wondering what that is. Like, who are those people? Who makes those decisions? You said it was a group from the state, but they've spent $2 million of that money. So I'm wondering what exactly they spent the $2 million on, because the $2 million isn't on low income or affordability. You know, it's not us giving someone $100,000. I think it was, it looks like the cost to run their organization.
No, the report that you did receive is for actually costs related to people, the people that are applying for this. For example, there's, outside of the planning services, obviously, there's the down payments, the closings, as you mentioned. Then there's reimbursements, generators. There are also infrastructure, there are also residential construction things that are related to this program that they can apply for.
So the $2 million that was spent by this body that we approved to make these improvements or
Water
down
heaters,
payments.
for example, is another one.
But there's $10 million that's still left and untouched.
I'd have to get that finite number for you, but again, it's ever changing. So I can give you an update of the affordable housing account.
Right, and I'll tell you where I'm going with it. I know that very shortly our COA obligations are going to become due, and I don't know that we're spending this money wisely, or maybe we can come up with a plan on how to spend this money that helps best achieve our COA obligation.
I will certainly say that we are following what our COA obligation is, and that's why these do come to the council for approval to make sure that we're meeting our obligations. So I can certainly provide to you what was approved by this body for the spending. So there's a breakdown in terms of not only well.
I'll tell you where my thought was. Okay, so we're giving somebody $100,000 so they can put it down on a down payment on a house, right? And then they end up getting a house $100,000 less than everybody, but they're low income, and that's what we do. And I'm going, if we keep on doing this with $10 million, how many people are we helping, right? Are we helping 100,000, so that's 10? We're going to help 100 people, and that would be the bottom line of it. To me, there might be other ways to do this, where as opposed to us allowing a developer to build an additional 50 condos, could we not give him the 50 condos, but give him money in this fund towards the COA so that some of his existing are used, so we don't have to, so we don't end up with a Camelot like we have over in Clara Barton, where there's a couple hundred units built. We could probably have cut that down if we would have used that money to help with the new apartments or whatever are getting built. Because what happens is they end up going to court and they say we have a COA obligation, so they get approval to build all these townhouses, condos, and the court gives it to them because we're not compliant with our COA.
No, we're fully compliant with COA. I mean, I can certainly have Hank come up, who oversees part of this.
Council President, just a point of order. And I appreciate Councilman Brescher's interest in this, and this is a wonderful subject. This is a deep subject.
Yeah, I think this is a.
And I think he's onto a good.
Do like an.
He's onto a very good
avenue.
avenue. But it's a deep dive.
Hank, can you quickly take us through COA obligations?
Yes. The townships, we're in our third round, and we are in compliance. We have to provide the units under Mount Laurel, or COA now. The town is responsible for the units, not the developer. So what we developed a long time ago was the builder's remedy, which gave them the 5, and so you have 4 regular, and then 20% was set aside, 10% low, 10% mod. That's how that all came about. The last settlement in the town gave us a huge number because everybody got a huge number in New Jersey. Real quickly, the new number is going to come out again in 2025, and if you've been watching the legislature, they're planning on having a new, maybe changing the law to make it a little more reasonable in terms of how they come up with these numbers for what the responsibility of the community, is. Their anticipated number of 224,000 units just of low and moderate units have to be provided in New Jersey. Well, that's only 20% of the number. Where are you going to put all those houses? So they know they have a problem, and they're working on it. And I believe the fund that you're talking about is around $8 million that we have put away for. But it's all part of the spending package that has to get approved by the planning board and by the council, and prior councils have approved that plan. I don't know all the particulars on what money's being sent where. We can meet and talk about that as well, and I can get you that information as well. Does that help you?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, no one else seems to have even known that it existed. As far as council people that I know, no one told me they knew that this existed.
The last settlement was done under the last administration. Mr. Northgrave was the attorney.
Right. I mean, my concern is that we have $8 or $10 million, right?
Yeah, it's in a fund.
We're spending for this, and no one really knows anything about it.
Yeah, we haven't been spending it, though, on that. What happens is the developer comes in, when he gets his number, we get our credits. That's what we're looking for, is our credits. There's all kinds of ways in the old days of spending that money. You could help revitalize older houses if their income levels are the right levels, but then we place a 30-year deed restriction on their property. People don't like to do that, and then it accounts for affordable housing. The other issue that we're going to face soon is that the first round of housing, that was about 30 years ago, and those units now are going to go back up as regular units. They lose that protection for low and income, so that's why the state has to start looking at this thing, so we kind of keep helping folk. So there's a lot to it.
All right, I'll spend
spend
a
time.
little bit more time with you.
I've been involved. I was involved in the very first exclusionary lawsuit in New Jersey. It was called Oakwood versus Madison when I was a very young planner, and then Mount Laurel was filed 6 months after that. So I've been involved in this for a very long time. So I was certainly helping sit and explain.
Thank you, sir.
All right, sir.
Thank you, Hank.
Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Councilman Brescher. Moving on to Councilman Coyle.
Thank you, Council President. I also will attend with Councilman Brescher when that day happens. I just wanted to report just briefly on our storm management with the DPW. I think we did it since, I'm thankful we didn't have a crazy snowstorm, but I can say we were certainly prepared, and I had a chance to have a discussion with the director, and he had his staff on standby. And I think if anybody's out there misunderstood of where and when we're going to make our move, the weather throttles with wind throughout the town. I mean, I was on Amboy Avenue, you had snow, but in South Edison, we didn't have any snow. So I'm happy that our director and his staff, sits back thoroughly to figure out when to dispatch. And there's a lot of risk versus staff, and sometimes you just have to put wheels on the ground, not knowing what the forecast can be in the next hour. But I am grateful for what we do have in place, and I think we're well covered in Edison when it comes to storm management. And also, as far as the rain storm we had, I was happy to speak to our chief to see how we were well prepared with generators and any type of outages and things set forth. So again, I think Edison's in a good position when and if there's a situation for our seniors or any buildings that need to be up and running. So good to hear on that. I have other items that can wait till the next council meeting, so that's all I have, Council President.
Thank you, Councilman Coyle. Moving on to Council Vice President.
None, sir.
And moving on to Councilman Patel.
Thank you, Council President. I will run through the list to Council President, to Administrator. Just want a confirmation that the first two, especially the Baltic Avenue, very short run, and Fischel Road, which is around I think there is a creek that goes down. The DPW was helpful to do some pothole repairs. We appreciated that, but that road really needs to be taken care. So if you can please confirm that they will go in this year's resurfacing plan, that would be helpful. Number 3 or C, the speed limit signs. I'm bringing this up meeting over meetings. I think either attorney, if you don't mind sending a letter to county, because this is a county road, they need to do the traffic study and look at, where those signs are missing. I think few meetings ago, Mr. Stoschel did pull me out and said the speed limit is 35 miles an hour. But if you go anytime on Oak Tree Road, the cars and trucks are probably going more than 45, 50, 55 miles an hour, and it's very dangerous. Especially when signs are not there, people do take the advantage. The next one is Kilmer Road striping. I would like to get the status. And this is especially on the, there is a signal close to the parking lot, and actually right from the post office going towards, coming towards Edison, coming inside the Edison or coming towards the Plainfield Avenue. It's a wide open road. It's very hard to find out who is going left, who is going right, because the street line says stop here, but there are 2 lines and there is no striping there. And this is not just happening now, this has been there for decades, but this needs to be resolved. So if you can
Sure.
have someone to look at that, please. Farm Haven speed hump sign, that was a redundant sign there. Do we know it was taken out?
It was, yes.
Perfect, thank you. There's the one sign that was left 35 miles an hour between Adam Street and Edison Avenue. I hope that was also taken out, or that's still pending.
Are you looking for the removal of that sign?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
only one sign that is redundant. That's also left out there.
Okay. I will follow up with that.
Thank you. Inman Runaway, this corner tree removal. I know you work with PSAG to cut the branches. All that was done, and this was all set to be removed. Do we know the ETA when?
So we did go out there and begin to remove it again. However, we do need a lot more public safety personnel around it because of the area. So we're going to go back out there. We did start removing it earlier this week.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Maplewood Avenue, Amber Avenue. I saw some comment on Council President detail. It says the stop sign is there. I think that road also needs to be repaved. It is not recommended to put the crossing there, but unfortunately there is a bus stop right on Amber Avenue, and kids needs to cross. So we definitely need the striping there, but and also we need potentially the flashing light or some sort of a mechanism when students are moving from one place to another place. I know the solar power flashing light, they are ordered some of those. I think, it will be a good idea to start at least doing the pilot, but there are various sections throughout the town, schools or the high density areas, the traffic areas. Again, I'll be happy to send the details of all the intersections that I feel. But if the traffic unit goes out and identifies at least for the first pilot, and then we can go into the capital ordinance, etc., to roll out that full-blown project would be helpful. Traffic lights at Durham and Brotherhood. This is something, I know this is not just an Edison, it will also involve other towns. So at least if we can start the conversation with the other towns and see if they would like to come forward and collaborate and possibly, work with the county to see if we can get some help from there. But this is very, very dangerous intersection. The other item, the properties, they were demolished by township. I believe that it happened in last couple of years. Do we know the cost and what's the current status there? I see a couple of properties on Oak Tree Road. I believe we demolished one on 27 as far as my knowledge goes, but do we know what the status like? Are we doing redevelopment there, or are we handing over, or what's happening there?
Still working on that list for you in terms of the demolished list,
Yes.
correct?
Yep.
Okay.
And the cost that we incur.
And the cost, right.
Thank you. The condemned property, I believe there was an attorney from the other party, StarTech, he came in and appeal was made to this council not to condemn the property, but the council still went ahead and condemned that property. I don't know. In fact, the resolution was sent to the planning board. Hank, you might have more details. But do we know what happened to that?
So there are several parts of the process of the condemnation, which you've also received. Mm-hmm. We've come to the council resolution condemnation with redevelopment. So in some of those processes is that we've been working with the actual owners of the properties to do that. For example, I know Plainfield and Route 27 has been a big one. So we've been working with the owner there. So if there were specific ones that you have, I'd certainly look into those specific ones, but they're just all in different levels of between legal and process that I can certainly then provide that level of detail for you.
I was very specifically looking at that Route 27 and Plainfield.
So that one in specific, we're working with the owner.
Owner, okay, thank you. My next one is HOA reimbursements. Because people did reach out to me and they said they did not receive, especially for 2023. Do we know how many years it's pending?
So I'm still trying to gather the number for 2022 and 2023. Specific with the recent HANA work, I know there was correspondence between our attorneys and their attorneys with regard to reimbursement and status of the work.
Mm-hmm. Okay. The next one, actually, it was my typo. It's not the mayor's executive order, it is mayor's executive decision that relates to water and sewer. This, again, goes back to the HOAs. can we get the details, because we are operating with an ordinance which states something than what mayor has taken the decision. Like Hana Road is a perfect example, right? Not going into the private properties and not serving those private properties. And I have the email chain that says that, it is mayor's executive decisions, which is okay. Mayor can take the executive decision, but we still need to either amend the ordinance or mayor has to release the executive order. Just on the email will not work.
Okay, to answer your question, and I'm sorry if it were
Yeah.
either or more, there was no executive order. It was a policy with regard to private property. So that could be a private residence or an HOA. The township wouldn't necessarily go in there and start fixing a private residence in the same aspect that, in this case, there was an emergency. It was a health, safety issue. So the township did go in there after, as you know, several attempts that there were issues that nothing was being done. We wanted to make sure that the residents were safe. It was getting cold. We didn't want any ice situation to occur. So we went in there, did the repairs, and that did get billed into the HOA.
No, I understand, what happened there, but my question is the policy that is adopted, is that documented and is that circulated? Because that has an impact on our current ordinance.
That policy itself is separate from, the ordinance is what it is. It's in terms of like the work that we can do up to the curb. That it's separate. So it's pretty clear in terms of the work. So what we're not doing is working into private residence. So it's still in compliance with the ordinance?
I would highly doubtful. I will have our attorney to really take a deep dive and understand the way the ordinance is written versus how it is interpreted by the residents, and how the policy, the new policy not to serve the private communities impacts. It's not just a Hana Road. Now we are looking at the Blueberry Court, Raspberry Court, Rivendell, Hana Road, Aspen Manor, you name it, wherever our Edison water utility is there. So it will be probably better for us to make sure that our ordinance is in compliance with our policy.
Understood.
Yeah, thank you. The next one is fire hydrant. I know Chief Toth, he was working on finding out how many fire hydrants that are under the Edison water utilities purview, and how many of them are in compliance. They are not in compliance, because this is again a safety issue. But I don't see him, but maybe next council meeting, if we can get an update from him. He was close on getting the inventory, but I don't know, once we have the inventory, we need to have the fire department go there and make sure that those fire hydrants are checked to make sure they are working, if they are in private properties, and if they are needed to be handed over or asked by those associations or HOAs to be maintained. We need to make sure that we do that proper handover.
Yes, so in terms of the HOA, it's on private property. They're responsible for it. We did start compiling that list. You're looking for a list?
I'm looking for the list, and I'm looking for the compliance, making sure that all the fire hydrants are working regardless, who is supposed to maintain. Because if there is a fire, then ultimately our fire employees will go there, and we don't want their life to be at risk.
There's currently one that's not working, that's being worked on by the water department, that's on Washington.
Okay.
So that's the one that we're aware of that is not working.
Okay. Next one is, I'm chasing this probably now, this will be fifth year. This Culver Stephenville project, Summer Street and Grove was added later on, but let me start with the first, the engineering study. This was all completed by CME and was supposed to be handed over to our current engineering company, and then probably capital project would have taken care of that. But every single time we go back and forth, there is a different message. Can we get the precise update saying where we stand? Did we receive the handover from CME, or we did not receive, or we need to restart there? What's the status? Because I remember we spent more than a couple of $1 million in that study.
That project has been picked up
It's picked up good.
as of a couple of weeks ago. So right now, what we're trying to do is just update the DEP regulations to make sure nothing changed from the last proposal. So our department's picking that project back up.
Perfect. So we have all the documentation, everything is there. So that's
Yes, we
good.
just need to make sure we're in compliance with DEP.
Any update on Summer Street and Grove Avenue flooding? Or that still needs to be worked out? Because last year I was told that we'll have the engineering study started on these two areas.
I will follow up on that one.
Thank you, I appreciate that. The next one is bicycle path repair. There are still many areas. Again, the reason I'm bringing this up is it's not a good time to fix, but we probably will start the paving program very soon, and maybe we'll have to start looking at some of these areas as well.
Councilman Patil, do you the engineers were asking for specific locations, so if you can provide that for us, thank you.
Sounds good. Number of new streets paved in 2023, I think this was discussed. There was nothing was done, right? Because of the fund was approved late or something happened there.
Right, so that list is being finalized because we have two working lists, and we're making sure that they're meshing together, obviously, between, areas and things like that. So we're just finalizing those two lists. The plants are closed right now. We need to have 3 consistent days, about 44-degree weather. So without that, we can't do anything at this moment. So usually about mid-March is when they start to reopen. But we've done a lot of the engineering, if not most, actually, the engineering, the field work. So we're going to be up and running to go by then.
Right. So that's my understanding was we are ready to set go, but then I think there was a little delay from the council side getting the bond approved, that $20 million bond. That's where this one of the line item was there.
Correct.
And again, the weather and all that, but hopefully, this will be picked up by March. Next one, again, we have so many streets open, whether it's a Plainfield, whether it's Amboy, or so many streets. And I don't know these utility companies, what's our policy is that they should be restoring all the roads to the original condition. And I don't see that's happening, the work is done on Plainfield, they left, road is still bad. And when I see the same thing, and I'm pretty sure, rest of the town has a similar situation. The thing is, we need to find out, did we release their escrow payment, road opening escrow payment?
I will follow up with regards to the list and the escrow payment. The one on Plainfield Road, I have been communicating directly with the county, so they won't do anything until it is obviously the weather picks up. That was one of the big things.
The last one, this was my request to remove the township seal from the floor, but again, that may be me. I don't know what other council members feel there, but I would prefer the seal, the original wooden seal, to go back.
So, sure. So I just for purposes of the seal on the floor, we've done a bunch of background in terms of seals and them being on the floor. We looked throughout several other towns, not just here locally, but nationwide, and they've been on the floor. I understand your position in terms of the standing on the seal, but the seal, we did quite a bit of research, and that usually a seal would be on the floor. I mean, I myself, my university, we did it. We had one. You just don't walk on it. It's like a curse, right? But the one in the back is on order. So that I will make sure we get an ETA. I know it's been quite a bit, so I understand your frustration. So I'll make sure that we're on that.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Councilman Patil. Councilman Pointer.
Thank you, Council President. I will start with my comment first. I'm going to not speak about the forestry management plan. I'm thinking that it's a new year. I was thinking about types of initiatives that we could look to deploy this year. Many people are familiar with the state-run Adopt a Highway program for road adoptions, allowing individuals and entities to sponsor cleanups and beautification initiatives. Numerous municipalities offer similar programs at the local level. One need not look further than neighboring South Plainfield for an example of an accomplished program. My request tonight is for Edison Township to develop a similar program to deploy in the near future. Now, I realize this is not a foreign concept. Residents can utilize the Clean Communities program to organize cleanups. However, those are more standalone events as opposed to annual sponsorships. Also, Chapter 23 of the Municipal Code is the township's Adopt an Area ordinance. However, this seems geared towards landscaping businesses instead of residents or community groups. My focus is to create a more resident, small business, or community group-friendly program to increase engagement with people wanting to beautify our township. My request to the administration is as follows. 1, if not already done, develop a formal application process for adopt-a-spot agreements. 2, if one is already in place, increase promotion of the program for more awareness. And 3, if our code needs to be modified to allow for this type of initiative to thrive, let council know so those modifications can happen. I do want to mention the Clean Communities program for anyone interested in organizing a cleanup this year. This program provides equipment such as gloves, trash grabbers, and bags to people to perform the cleanups, as well as financial compensation based on how much is actually collected. If you are interested in organizing a cleanup, you can contact either the Department of Health or the Edison Environmental Commission for additional information. Increased engagement towards beautifying our township offers numerous benefits to our community, and I look forward to expanding on these efforts. In regards to a couple of status updates, those are the remaining items. First, thank you to the administration for getting back to me, updating on these items. The first item for the Community Energy Aggregate Program, I know that some information is still being waited on, so get an update on that, unless you have anything.
Sure. We did meet with the firm last year to make sure that we're in compliance. So we're looking to pick that back up this year. So I know Sustainable Jersey has been a big thing for us too. So, and that's an equal component to it. So
I look forward to seeing that implemented. It's often asked about Old Post Road and Boulevard of Eagles, the crosswalk there. I was advised that engineering has reviewed the project and deemed it would be acceptable for a light beacon / flashing light system. Engineering and construction costs associated with this project are figured to be part of the 2024 budget. So once the budget comes, I will revisit this topic. Jackson Avenue. Last year, the council approved for application of a grant to widen the road of Jackson Avenue, among other items. I was advised that an update request was sent to the grant writer, and once the response is received, I would get that update. Grove Avenue speed limit study. Last year, we had done the ordinance to reduce a portion of Grove Avenue from 35 miles down to 25 miles. Lieutenant Turner advised the traffic unit met with residents of the area to discuss potentially having the 25 mile per hour span entire Grove Avenue. An item of concern to this expansion was potential furthering of gridlock. It was mentioned a recent traffic study was done indicating that minimal speeding was happening. So right now we're currently in wait on that. And the last item in regards to the sewer system repair / ACO, I spoke with our Department of Water and Sewer Director, Mr. Smith. He advised that things are still in the works. However, we have been submitting the reports that we've had to submit. They've had inspections done, and everything is still in line with the ACO. That would be the end of my items, Council President. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilman Pointer. Councilmember Shmuel.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Council President. Real quick, I just want to talk about what Councilman Brescher said about the CO and the affordable housing. I think it is a broader subject that we need a few more hours to discuss, but I would like to join you and meet with our town planner, Hank McNell, and our new appointed councilman on the planning board, look at the master plan and see how we could alleviate some of the issues that may come up with CO and affordable housing in the future, and what the Edison master plan looks like with regards to that. Thank you.
Councilman Shmuel. As for me, I just wanted to follow up on the sidewalk issue with the attorney.
Sure. Last week we were here. I know Councilman Brescher had asked about, I think it was Councilman Brescher who had asked about the possibility of imposing requirements in a,
Essentially, a committee person came up and they had an idea of whenever we do a sale of the house.
yeah.
to put it-
So that aspect alone doesn't look like it would fly under the MLUL. Essentially, if a house or other building has been constructed according to the zoning codes at the time and according to approval by the planning board, whatever it is, and that didn't include a sidewalk, you're not going to take away the certificate of occupancy based upon changes to that. However, this part, I know Councilman Brescher did bring up the fund that you may have collected from developers or from builders or from homeowners themselves for application towards that. That can be used. There's a procedure under Chapter 19 in the Township Code that lays out how sidewalks can get constructed. And it has references to the local improvements law under Title 40, where by ordinance, the township can do improvements, roadway improvements, sidewalk improvements, construction of those sidewalks. And depending on how you want to go about it, it can be charged wholly to the property owner. It could be split between the property owner and the township for them to pay a percentage. It can be done completely by the township. It can also require that the homeowner do it themselves, and then the township come in afterwards if they refuse to do so. There's advantages to all of those approaches, and there's disadvantages to them. You have the homeowner do it himself, you get a whole street of 6 different contractors coming in and doing it in different ways or doing it with different materials. That's potentially problematic. Aside from that, there's also having developers do it as part of putting in whatever it is that they're building. If they're building a shopping center and you want them to contribute to constructing a sidewalk through the neighborhood that's adjacent to it, they can be, as part of that development, a portion of that cost can be assigned to them because they benefit from it. So if you have any specific questions about how to get it done, happy to address that now, or we can address it later if someone wants to reach out. I can put together a memo depending on how you want to approach it and what areas you're talking about. Because the ordinance, the township ordinance itself does lay out a list of priorities. I think it's a study that was, done in 2005 that has a list of township priorities. I don't know how up to date that study is. I think that might have to be a conversation that we'd have to have with Mr. McNell. But it also has the Director of Public Works involved in making those determinations if that's something that the township wants to do and expand upon usable sidewalk area. So it's more than a 5-minute conversation. It's more of a long-term plan for how you want to approach.
So I think the first step, I believe, will be to first get an idea of how many sidewalks are we missing. So is there a way we can get a sidewalk study done? And how long would that take, Sonia?
Well, Sonia, there should be one that was done that we can use as a basis for comparison, because it might be horribly out of date. It might be relatively accurate at this point, depending on what's been done over the last 15 years. So that would be, I think, step one would be.
Okay, so let's do this. For the next meeting, can we have that study? And for Mr. Burns, can you provide us with a memo as all our options, as you said, you know, we could do this, this, this?
I've started one. I've got the draft here with me, but until I talked to you, I wanted to make sure that I knew exactly where you wanted me to focus. If you want me to lay out the options,
Yeah, I'd say
that'll work.
lay out
and I
the
can get
options,
that
and
together.
I'll let the council decide as to what will be the right approach.
Okay.
And moving on, I have some good news on the economic developer. We did opened up a position and put out a feeler, so we're hoping to have an economic developer for the township, just like major towns around us. So that's good news, and that's it for me in terms of discussion items.
Council President?
Yes.
Just want to add one more line item for the.
Sure.
I'm sorry, I missed that. While I was talking about the drainage stuff or the flooding area, with the last rain, we saw the Grove Avenue and JP Stevens entrance, the school has to close. So if you can please add the engineering study of drainage system of Grove Avenue and JP Stevens entrance. It's a very important part. Thank you, Council President.
Okay. Thank you, Councilman Patel. In terms of President's remark, there is something I wanted to try, so let me bring that out. So this year, my objective is to reduce our meeting durations from 4 to 5 hours to maybe just 2. And to achieve this, I plan to introduce some changes and monitor their effectiveness. If we successfully shorten the meeting, that's excellent. If not, I'll evaluate what other adjustments are necessary. Here are some of the changes I'll be implementing moving forward. I know this was the first meeting, so I didn't really convey the messages, but moving forward, discussion topics must be submitted to our Madam Clerk by Wednesday preceding the work session meeting to be eligible for consideration. This approach will guarantee that all council members will have ample time to prepare for discussion and allow our BA to anticipate and address any potential questions in advance. Councilman pointed this out to me. This is already in our code that we need to present our discussion items to the Madam Clerk by Wednesday. When a council person is speaking on a discussion item, I will encourage them to stay focused. If they deviate from the topic, I will intervene and redirect the conversation to ensure our meetings remain efficient and on track. Council Vice President Harris pointed out that what happens if there's an urgent situation that happens between Wednesday and the Monday work session. For now, I believe the procedure will be, we'll propose a motion for discussion, and that would need a seconding, and we'll then conduct a roll call, and then the council's decision will determine our course of action. And that will be it for the President's remark. Moving forward to new business. Proposed ordinances, public hearing set down for Wednesday, January 24th. Madam Clerk, read the ordinance.
Ordinance of the Township of Edison canceling $1,945,740.71 in bond authorizations and bond anticipated notes proceeds not needed from the original purpose, and to transfer $671,327.77 in bonds or bond anticipation notes proceeds to capital fund balance.
All right, I'll need a motion to introduce.
Council President?
Madam Vice President.
I move this ordinance be passed on first reading, published according to law for further consideration, and public hearing set down for January 24th.
May I have a second?
Seconded.
All right, any council comments?
I would just like to go on the record and say it's good that we're cleaning up our books, number one, but I'm a little disheartened that we didn't spend the money that was allocated for Clara Barton, and we're canceling that out. I hope we don't forget about Clara Barton in the future. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Brescher. Any other council members? Okay, seeing none. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilmember Brescher.
Yes.
Councilmember Coyle.
Yes.
Councilmember Harris.
Yes.
Councilmember Patel.
Yes.
Councilmember Pointer.
Yes.
Councilmember Shumel.
Yes.
Council President Patel.
Yes. Madam Clerk, please read the next ordinance.
Bond ordinance providing for various capital improvements in and by the Township of Edison, appropriating $7,900,000, therefore authorizing the issuance of $7,505,000 bonds or notes to finance their part of.
May I have a motion to introduce?
I move this ordinance be passed on first reading, published according to law, for further consideration and public hearing set down for January 24th.
May I have a second?
Second.
Any council comments? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, read the next ordinance.
Councilmember Brescher.
Yes.
Councilmember Coyle.
Yes.
Councilmember Harris.
Yes.
Councilmember Paitiel.
Yes.
Councilmember Pointer.
Yes.
Councilmember Shumel.
Yes.
Council President Patel.
Yes. Madam Clerk, please read the next ordinance.
Bond ordinance providing for various water main system improvements for the water utility in and by the township, appropriating $9,500,000, therefore authorizing the issuance of $9,500,000 bonds or notes to finance thereof.
May I get a motion to introduce?
Council President,
Councilman Shmuel.
I move this ordinance be passed on first reading, published according to the law for further consideration and public hearing set down for January 24th.
Thank you, Councilman Shmuel. May I get a second?
Second.
Council comments? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Brescher.
Yes.
Councilmember Coyle.
Yes.
Councilmember Harris.
Yes.
Councilmember Paitiel.
Yes.
Councilmember Pointer.
Yes.
Councilmember Shumel.
Yes.
Council President Patel.
Yes. All right, moving on to public comments on the resolution. Anyone would like to make a comment on to the resolutions? Come on up, Councilman.
Number one, well, I'll be getting a copy of the resolution approving the correct, Joy Ship Freeman?
Thank you.
Okay,
You
Edison,
are
New
recognized.
Jersey. All right. Well, I'll be getting a copy since I had to sign off on the, resolution. So it looked like I should be getting a copy of the action plan since I had to sign off on the audit.
I think that should be more than okay.
Well, if I had to sign my name on it at all, so, and let's see, resolution authorizing a professional services contract to Bignall Planning Consultants for planning consultant to serve as the acting director of administrative officer in the amount not to exceed $175,000. What does that job consist of?
Luckily for us, Mr. Hank is here. Sonia, would you like to speak to this?
Sure. That provides oversight for our planning and engineering, including zoning, construction departments. And so, as you can see, Mr. Bignell tonight covered an array of areas so that deal with COA, planning, engineering, zoning, all things related to.
Thank you, Sonia.
Oh, so,
Councilwoman.
Soltez is not part of that? He's not part of that connection?
Mr. Soltez is the construction official, is not a department head, and Mr. Hank Bignell acts as the department head for that department.
Oh, he acts. Okay, thank you. All right. Resolution authorizing extending contracts with various township professionals until February 29th, 2024.
Councilwoman Shipp, if you just don't mind reading the number, so it makes it much easier.
Okay. 016.
Okay, thank you.
Resolution authorizing extending contract with various township professionals until February 29th, 2024.
Okay.
That's just a random amount of people? Like who, I mean, like who are the professionals?
I think these are just the contracts that we extend out because this is the beginning of the year that we do every year. I think there's a list.
There's a list of the people for that?
Yeah.
Can I get that list?
It's in the resolution. We can provide that to you.
Okay, the other one is number 22.
22, okay.
Resolution authorization of a change order, number 3. For the year 2023, can I get a list of the change orders? Because, I mean, there's change orders every time, so I don't even think that's fair with the bids if you always have change orders. And last but not least, number 24, resolution accepting bid and awarding contract to Cytone Landscape Supply for grounds material in an amount to exceed $285,000. Up there by Papiani Park, when they took that soil away, so what happened to that? Did we put that soil somewhere that we could use it?
I am not sure, Sonia.
That's unrelated to this contract. That had to do with the field, and that soil had to be taken separately by the contractor that was there doing the field work.
Oh, so the contractor gets that, or he gets that soil for free, and this is totally different?
I think this is like landscaping
I
soil.
know landscaping, I know about soil, because I know about topsoil. Believe me, I've been on this earth quite a while.
Okay.
So I just wanted to know about that. You know, I figure if we have good soil someplace, why can't we use that soil?
I don't think we stored it. I think the contractor did move
The
it.
contractor keeps it and moves it and sells it to somebody else?
I'm not sure what he does with it, Sonia. Do you know what they do with the soil?
They're taken to dumps to plant.
Okay.
Thank you.
No problem. Anyone else? Come on up.
Good evening, Ben from Edison, New Jersey. Do I have the floor, Councilman?
You are recognized, Spence.
Thank you. Resolution 025 and then 026. Can you clarify about the mid-side pickup trucks? What is that referring to? Is that a police vehicle?
I will let Sonia answer this.
That was related to the fire department.
Okay, and thank you, Sonia. And the resolution for 026, ejecting public bid for police pursuit rated vehicles. What is that?
Sonia?
Those are police vehicles, and as I mentioned, we'd gone out to bid, so formally we have to reject the bids. The reason being we're rejecting is because we ended up going to a co-op and purchased the vehicles through that co-op.
Okay. What is a co-op?
Cooperative purchasing, so it's a bunch of, let's say, towns get together, or systems or units, and they create a co-op, and they do all of the bidding process for you. And in that way, it's through that purchasing, we're able to easily get the equipment that way. We don't have to, at the township, don't have to go through the bidding process.
Okay, that's very interesting. Thank you, Sonia. So with the police pursuit rate, so are we trying to get vehicles to, like, if the police had a pursuit, do we have a special vehicle for pursuits? Just because I've seen other law enforcement, they have a special vehicle where on the front of the bumper, they have this tool that they latch from the tire, and I can't find I think it's called Bolo or something. There's a thing called Bolo. I'm not sure if Mr. Dudash, if you want to clarify that.
Good evening, council members. In regards to your question, so the vehicles that we did ultimately purchase are pursuit-rated vehicles created specifically for police agencies.
Mm-hmm.
The aftermarket components you're referring to, no, those are not part of our purchase. So the vehicles are specifically built by Ford Motor Company for law enforcement purposes.
Okay. Or you guys will be interested to get the Bolo. Do you know what I'm talking about?
We'll have to research that. I'm not sure at this time.
It's on the market for quite some time. I've seen videos when they have a high-speed pursuit chase, they have like a bumper, and then when they chase them, you need to, like, I think 10 feet to.
If I could just cut you off for 1 second. So we have Attorney General's guidelines for pursuit here in New Jersey that we have to follow. So some of the technology that you may have seen on television may be legal in other states, but may not be legal in New Jersey, just so you're aware.
All right. I have nothing else to say, and I will approve these resolutions if anyone wants to reject or side table them. Thank you.
Thank you, Vince. Anyone else? Come on up. Yeah, you can come on up.
What are we speaking about? I know we're on the resolutions. Are we on a specific resolution?
I will ask for name and address.
May I stay anonymous, please? Public safety concern.
Okay, that's fine.
So what are we talking about now?
On the resolutions.
All the resolutions?
Yep.
Not
Only the resolution.
ordinances? Okay. I'm against every single one of them. Sam Joshi and his administration can't be trusted, so I think it's all corrupt. I'm against
What
it.
resolution would you be referring to?
I was about to get there if you had some patience a little bit.
So when you start, can you please number the resolution you'll be speaking to so we can all be on the same page?
I'm looking for the one that AJ was just talking about. Can you help me out and tell me
The
which
police one was R26, R026.
number? R26. Oh, thank you, brother. You're very kind. Thank you. I'm against R026. I'm against giving anything to the police department until they get their act together, until they know who it's proper to take orders from and who it's not. And, R27, Mr. John Pointer. Oh, I support it because that's why I didn't come in so many times last year, because you, all right. But yeah, R26, I'm against it. Police pursuit, rated vehicles. Through you to Councilman Brescher, it seems kind of strange, Councilman Brescher, that we're going to buy some police pursuit rated vehicles when the Attorney General's guideline says we're not supposed to pursue anyone, you know? Deputy Chief Dudash, is that correct, that we have, when someone's on a motorcycle or anything else, we're not supposed to be high speed down in it?
So we are not purchasing or rejecting a vehicle, so
No chase policy. Would the BA like
I
to
think
add
you're
into it?
going-
Because I
you're
saw her
veering-
mouth moving. Does she have anything
you
she'd like to
are
add?
veering off the topic, sir.
Okay. So yeah, if we're not allowed to be chasing vehicles down, it's against the Attorney General's guideline.
So we are just rejecting the bids in this particular resolution.
Doesn't matter. I'm allowed to talk about it. You can reject it all you want. It's up on I'm talking about it. So it seems strange to me that someone would even put it on this agenda. Someone put it on the agenda. You're the council president. Were you the council president who put this on the agenda?
I'm sorry, what are you referring to?
You put on R026. You wasted our time with a resolution to buy a police vehicle to chase people.
Mm-hmm.
But the Attorney General's guideline says we're not allowed to.
So we're rejecting the bids.
Is that why you rejected the bid, or is there another reason why you rejected the bid?
Well, we're rejecting this particular bid.
If you would have done your due diligence before you put this on there, it would have made its way to the. It's so contradictory. Deputy Chief Dudash, would you agree that we don't need any? Do you have problems chasing?
If you don't mind, you can direct the question to me.
Through the chair to the Deputy Chief Dudash. Is there a problem with the police vehicles that you have? Are they not able to pursue? Maybe they're not electric, they're not fast enough yet. They don't have the power or the juice to meet those. But yeah, it just seems very, very strange to me. Give nothing to the police department. Make them beg for everything, give them nothing. They need to get their act together. I'm still talking about R026. How much time do I have left, Marlena? 2 minutes is a long time. But yeah, R.026-012024. That's exactly what I'm against. I want it perfectly clear. I'm not talking about R025. I'm talking R.025-012024. For anyone paying attention, well, 26, whatever. I made a mistake, so I'm gonna have to restate it. People listening might think I'm talking about some R.026-012024. I'm against it. How much was the minimum bid for that vehicle?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
The minimum bid, how much was the minimum bid for a police pursuit rated vehicle? Are the vehicles we have now not?
Well, this is just a rejection of the bid, so there's no number to attach to it.
I never heard anyone call a police car a police pursuit rated vehicle. That's a little strange to me.
First time for everything, I suppose.
It insinuates that the other vehicles don't have the ability to chase, pursue. Would you agree with me on that?
I am not sure I understand the question.
Through the chair to Councilman Brusher. Councilman Brusher, when you put down something like this on the agenda, that you're gonna buy a cop car, but they're calling it police pursuit rated vehicles, it seems to me they know they have enough cop cars. They can't come to you guys and say, oh, we need a cop car. So they need to call it something else, and they're trying to be a little bit slick about it.
Council President.
No,
just
you don't have the floor, sir. Sorry.
What's that?
You don't have the floor. We're going to move on to the next person. Anyone else have any questions? No, you already went, Mr. Benz. All right. Do we do? Do we do rebuttals? Any rebuttals?
Yeah.
Any rebuttals? Okay, I am seeing none. All right. Motion to. I need a
Motion to close the public portion?
Thank you. Second. Second. Any roll call on this or just?
Resolutions.
All right, moving on to 19. Any council member wants to pull anything for separate vote? Oh, sorry. All in favor to close the public portion?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you, Councilman Coyle. Moving on to any council member would like to pull anything for a separate vote? Seeing none, the consent agenda will be, the consent agenda will be R008 to R027. Can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Council President, before you approve, does these two appointments need to be as a part of any resolution? No? Okay.
It's just for knowledge.
Thank you.
Council
Motion
President,
to move
motion.
the consent agenda.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilmember Brescher.
Yes.
Councilmember Coyle.
Yes.
Councilmember Harris. Councilmember Patil.
Yes.
Councilmember Pointer.
Yes.
Councilmember Keenan.
Yes.
Council President Patel.
Yes. Okay, and
We have nobody on the list.
so we're opening up to the public for petition and remarks, but we have no one on the list, so Maria, come on up. Okay. Maria, you're recognized?
Maria Orchid, 83 Jefferson. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay, here we go. On the dates, tomorrow, Thursday, is the open space meeting at 7 p.m. Also, tomorrow, it will be a celebration of MLK at the New Beginnings Church, hosted by the NAACP, open to everyone. I'm not sure, what time is it, 7? Starts at 7 to 9:30. Then on January 13th, Haley's Harp is going to have a fundraiser for the animal shelter. I'm not sure about the time, 12 p.m., as well as please come by and see the dogs and cats available for adoption. On January 18th, the Environmental Commission will have their meetings. It's open to everyone. We look forward to seeing everyone, and open to the public. Please check on your seniors and your disabled neighbors. We had bad snowstorm, rains and snows over the weekend. Please make sure that your neighbors are safe. consider a public advocate. Clara Barton Library signs. Follow up on the following: deer study, master plan, crossing guards. We need more members to the Human Relations Commission. Please apply. We have open beds at Swales and Dwyer Community Gardens. Please see Edison Community Gardens Initiative to apply. Also, we're doing a plastic collection. We're collecting the plastic for a donation for a bench at Swales Park. If there's any locations where we could place our boxes, plastics such as, the wrappers on the Bounty towels or the toilet papers or even newspaper wrappers, we can collect and get a bench. We need 1,000 pounds. Thank you.
Thank you, Maria. Councilwoman Ship Freeman.
All right, Joey Ship Freeman. All right, the community aggregate program. Out of all 7 people, I was the only one that didn't really full-heartedly vote for that because I felt like that a lot of the seniors, because it was where you had to add in, you had to opt in, and then you couldn't get your regular PSE&G, and the other companies lowball you on the way in, and then if an ice storm or something comes and somebody's bill is $3,000 or whatever, and as I look at the news each day, I see JCPL at 5,000 people don't have, any lights or any energy, and I look just at PSE&G, and there's only 50 people who don't have power. So I'm looking at that. I'm looking for all the people. I'm looking at that. So, and I would like to know the number of streets paved in 2022. And let's see what else. And somebody told me that the Diwali cost came to $320,000, but only $120,000 was collected. And I don't care about that much. I just like for you to be honest with me when you're telling me about the amount of money that you're receiving, because I think it's a great celebration. I think all celebrations are great. I think people should do things that bring us together more. But just tell me the truth about the money you receive and the money that you spend. And the other one is the Comcast. Did we sign a paper with Comcast? Did we sign any type of agreement with Comcast?
No.
I was just wondering because I know for a fact, because everybody tells me how horrible Optimum is, and I know Comcast, Optimum, all different places have a monopoly where they're at. And I just know that Comcast will cost us the same or more because they would have to actually initiate, or they would have to, build their own foundation back and forth. So, and other than that, John Pointer, Councilman John Pointer, my family said thank you because you're a very sincere young man when you speak. And I spoke before with you about COLA at a different time before, and you was explaining how we'll never actually catch up with where we really need to be. And I understand where Councilman Brescher is coming from, and I really didn't see a definitive answer that he got. He wants to know the actual people that sit there who determine who is eligible and who will get the money back and forth. Because I don't know, sometimes if your brother or somebody in your family happens to be in that realm and you're looking for, you're having a little bit of problems and you want to get that, they want it to just be fairly distributed across the board. Because I know for a fact, I didn't know we had all that money sitting there because there's one entity in town that's asking to borrow $800,000 to move their program forward, and they seem to keep getting doors slammed in their face. And like he said before, I know on the certain programs, it's like a 25 or a 30-year limit on it. So I'm still learning more about the difference between fair housing and the difference between affordable housing and the way these different things operate. But you know, and I know with the apartments being 2,700, a lot of people can't afford that. And with, not just talking about here, with the people in Trenton, the administration, getting ready to get a 67% raise, while me and other people's check got smaller this month from pension. So I don't know, and that's why I always have problems with the people upstairs on the third floor making like 150% more than people throughout the rest of the building. Okay, maybe, you know, I just worry about the everyday person surviving, because a lot of people, I happen to be that, a lot of people are one paycheck away from being on the street and being homeless. Last but not least, the immigrant program that plunged us into the news and all that drama about the places being here, the people coming here since June, is incredible to me, because everybody kept telling me it was disinformation. Then I find out, I'm like, then I seen films, I was like, whoa, we actually have immigrants coming here to this town. You know what I mean? So that was a bit disturbing. But other than that, I just wanted to know the number of the streets that were actually paved in 2022. And what else they asked me? They asked me, when are we going to take care of some of them potholes? They said it's a sinkhole somewhere on the street. Somewhere they were telling me about a sinkhole in one of the streets. So, you know, and I'm just having a fit that this town is turning into like a crazy city, because every time I turn around, there's a fire here, there's somebody running over here, there's crime here, whatever. I'm like, I'm not in here in Edison for that. I'm not here for that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Shipp. In terms of the street paved for 2022, do you have a list, Sonia?
I will send that to you tomorrow.
Thank you. And for the potholes, Councilwoman Shipp, if you can just have them send us a picture, I think they can take care of that real quick. That shouldn't be a big issue. Come on up.
Ellen Arthur, Edison. I just have one concern. Earlier in the meeting, I think you saw that there were 2 people placed on the Human Relations Committee. I would just ask that you be kind of the watchtower to make sure it's not a committee, it's a commission, and they have to be approved by you. And I'm very concerned that you make sure that you monitor that there is diversity on that commission.
So just so you understand, they don't have to be approved by us. It's just a notice. It's the mayor's appointment. All right? You should be aware of what. Yeah. There's no talking back and forth.
Council President.
I will move on to our BOE member.
Biral Patel, and I'm here in my personal capacity. I would like to start with congratulating my friend Councilman Brescher, my friend Councilman Joe Coyle, my friend Councilman AJ Patil for just getting sworn in last week for a full 4-year term. We have worked a lot together, so it will be wonderful 4 years, and nice to see you all back. And Council Member Schmill, we worked together in zoning board, so happy for you to be here. So congratulations. I would like to say thanks to Councilman AJ Patil for asking for the engineering study for the drainage situation outside J.B. Stevens School. So thank you so much for that. The main reason I am here is to the chair. Last year I came to this meeting and expressed opinion about ABC Latchkey program, the After Before Care program. Today I am here representing several parents who are concerned about that program. I have concern from at least 50 parents who are sharing the similar concerns. The program charges $160 for the morning care. they charge $220 for afternoon care. In the morning, maybe they use pretty much whole portion of the program. In the afternoon, most of the parents do not even use the entire 2.5 hours of the program. Some pick up their kids at 4 o'clock, some at 5, some at 6. Rarely someone after that, and it's not allowed after that, but they don't utilize the full program. But the point here is a lot of parents have work schedules and they could not get to the school at 3:30 for the dismissal, so they have to pay this hefty sum of money and enroll their children in that program so that they can pick up their kids later. The program used to be very good, and we heard over years that they used to give nice snacks and other things, make them do homework activities. But recently there have been concerns that the program quality has been deteriorated. The money that was charged was $180 just before a couple of years. It became $220 now. I completely get it. I understand about the inflation, and so do so many parents. But at the same time, what we have heard is township makes a huge profit off of this program, a huge sum of profit. The school facilities are completely free. It does not cost township anything. There is a cost to lunch aid, and we have heard lunch aids complaining that they are not getting well paid too. So a lot of us don't understand where the money is going. Yes, it's still for the township, it's for the taxpayers, it's not going in anyone's pocket, I understand that. But the point over here is it's really, if township is making that much amount of money as a profit, the fees of the program should be reduced. The fees should be leveled up in a way that every single penny that is going extra for this program should be given back to the parents. It should not cost this much. Now, the program also gives a discount to multiple children in a family, which is great. It sounds like a YMCA and LA Fitness deal. But here, the problem with this, you have 3 children in a family going to the program. Now you're giving discount to the second and third child, which is great again. But the program has limited space. So it's taking away opportunity from another child. Now, assuming the 3 children are coming from a household who can really afford maybe $450 per month, and the child who was left out, their parent may not be able to afford $225 per month even, right? So it's really, in this scenario, it may not be the 100% fair thing to do. Rather, give opportunity to every single child who can be part of the program at an affordable cost. This is the day and age. I mean, this year, we are talking about, tremendous state aid and almost 0% tax increase and or minimal tax increase. And there's going to be buzz about free preschool. In that year, charging $220 and making profit of an aftercare program is really not a wise thing to do. So I would really request that if I can get an answer, so I can pass on to the parents that how much money the township is making off of the program, and if we can revise the fees to give every single money back to the parents and accommodate more children into the program because the school facilities are free. Thank you so much.
Actually, I would like to ask, how much do we make from this latchkey program?
We'll get that number to you, but we did create an analysis of the program and the costings. We can certainly provide that to you as well.
Okay, yeah, can we have that report for the next meeting? Thank you. So we can get to the bottom of this. Obviously, we want to make sure that we're not charging because the township is supposed to provide services, and obviously we don't want to be making profit off of this. Thank you for bringing this to our attention, Bureau. Come on.
Anthony Diamond, excuse me.
You recognize Anthony?
Thank you. First up, a quick question on the train tracks on Vineyard Road. It looks like they're going to be possibly, I've lived in that area back behind in the Vineyard Village section for 30 years. I'd never seen those tracks in use before, but it looks like they're about to get ready they're cleaning up over there, going right into Amazon. Do we know if they're going to be put back into use at all?
Which train tracks are these?
On Vineyard Road, right next to Amazon and Costco.
Sonia?
that would be a traffic disaster if that's the case.
Okay. Sonia, do we know if those train tracks are going to be used?
We don't have any jurisdiction over those train tracks. That's through, I believe, the Conrail or, it's not Amtrak, it's through the federal.
Okay. And do we have a plan if they do start using it? Because obviously that would cause a traffic issue.
Council President, I can give an update when he's done with all his questions.
Council President, if I may have Hank come up here to answer some of that
Sure.
questions.
If you don't, actually, can we do that after his time is up? Okay. We can get that done after.
Yeah, that's fine. In regards to the illegals that were, obviously it's been a hot topic. The mayor got a lot of attention over the last week for his comments. I only ask this: why he's known about this issue for at least going back to the summer of 22. I just like to know why the administration said nothing, did nothing, except release these individuals to the public. I'd like to know if the administration knows where these individuals may be. Are they in our schools? Are their children involved? Do they have where are they? It's amazing to me, considering the fact that, the PD has a big time shortage on the road right now. You hear constantly crime break-ins are just happening all over town. There was just one in the Vineyard Village section. They ransacked the house. They do this in broad daylight now. Criminals are breaking into these homes in broad daylight. There's very, very little fear of consequences. Just from top to bottom, there's just it's very, very worrisome. And I'd like to know, the mayor had a lot to say regarding them, starting from last week or whatever it was, 2 weeks ago. But what about the ones that have been coming here in the middle of the night since 2022? What about them? Because he said nothing, he did nothing. So I'd like to know where the mayor stands on that and where these individuals are. We don't, as far as I'm concerned, I don't think we know where they are. Also, I'd like to thank, everybody from last night's storm. Looks like, it was a tremendous storm. So to the PD, fire department, DPW, it looks, I know there was a lot going on. I saw they did a great job considering. So, and I'll end with this. Today would have been my mother's 73rd birthday. She was a resident here in Edison for 30-something years. And just a quick story. I never actually told this story, but when she got sick, she was very sick when we found out she was spiraling. I called then Mayor Lanke up and asked him for a favor, and I asked him, trust me, and he owed me no favors. This is before I became his assistant, and I asked him if he would marry my brother and his fiance. This is in the height of COVID, by the way. And the mayor, so diligently and eloquently, had the empathy and said yes. We had a ceremony, very small, intimate ceremony outside on the bridge near Lake Papiani. And he married my brother and his now wife, so my mother could see it before she had passed. And nothing was, no attention was made to it. And, I just wanted to share that story because, yes, Mayor Lanke, was extremely kind to do that for me and my family. Gave us, really made my mother happy. And considering today landed on a council meeting day, her birthday landed on this meeting, I just wanted to share that story and, recognize the former mayor for his good deeds. So, thank you.
Thank you for sharing, Anthony. Mr. Hank, if you can shed some light on the train tracks.
Mr. Chairman, it's my understanding that the railroad tracks it was correct that Sonia says they belong to the Conrail and they have no say over them. the tracks are being cleaned off. I believe the adjacent property was dumping illegally on it, and he was asked or ordered by the train to clean those tracks off.
Okay.
I have no knowledge of any kind of trail, a railroad train or siding going into the Amazon property. And if they do, it requires amended site plan approval, and the public would be receiving notice if that ever happened. But there's no application that I know of pending about that stuff. All right, so they would have a public hearing on that. They couldn't do without approval.
Thank you. Good to know. And
Council President.
just one sec, Deputy Chief Dudash, can you give us an update as to what the police is doing to take care of the rise in crime?
Okay, so Council President, in regards to specifically what type of crime are you referring to?
I think the catalytic converters, the thefts, a lot of just break-ins that's been going on.
Okay, so each one of those is kind of a separate and distinct issue because generally speaking, the criminals committing those crimes are committing those specific crimes individually, if you will. It's not the same criminals committing all of them, all right? So it creates a set of issues for us as a police department and for police departments around this whole region. Let's address catalytic converters first and foremost. So our community policing unit had put out a series of tips, if you will, things that you can do to try to prevent a vehicle's catalytic converters from being stolen off of a vehicle. There is no exact science in reference to that, but there are some things that you can do that can at least lessen the possible ability for a criminal to do that, okay? So that's first and foremost. As far as the home break-ins and car thefts, so we are putting out extra patrols, unmarked and marked, on a regular basis throughout the areas that we're experiencing these burglaries and subsequent either attempt thefts or car thefts, all right? So that is ongoing, and in addition to that, we're working with other agencies for intelligence to find out, hopefully, who these individuals are, where they're coming from, and to try to stop it, of course, before it happens. So that is ongoing literally every night.
Thank you, Chief.
Every night.
Thank you, Chief.
So there is an increase in police presence every night.
Thank you, Chief Dudash. Councilman Brescher, if you don't mind, can we just hold the comments after the public section is closed?
What
Anyone?
had to do with this question about the railroad that you know nothing about and the BA knows nothing about
I
and
think
the public knows nothing
Hank
about.
answered that.
And Hank is wrong and he knows nothing about. But I'll tell you what, Council President, since I'm the one
Councilman
I'm not
Brescher,
gonna- I'm not going to answer.
You can say it after.
No,
That's fine.
it's fine. You can give the answer. You do your work and then you give the public.
Okay, that's
what
fine.
was just said here was
Anyone
wrong.
else have a comment?
And the people are gone. It's a horrible Council President. You didn't like John. I think this is horrible.
Ben from Edison, New Jersey, do I have the floor?
You have the floor.
Awesome, thank you, Council President.
Wait until next meeting.
Going back to the ordinance that I talked about, I found the information, Mr. Dudash, it's called Graveler. So 30 states are using that for high-speed chases. I send you an email if you want to take a look, and also a YouTube video as well. Okay, so going back to the mayor's comments. Oh boy, I know there's been a lot of heated arguments about this. And look, I'll stand with the mayor on this. We don't know where these people are coming from. They I guess, one of the, how did this came from? I'm trying to figure this whole out. Someone called the police, said it was in the train station. One of the officers came. I guess they were trying to get some information. Then all of a sudden they have to go back to Texas or something like that. We don't even know where these people come from. We don't even know if those people had any guns, drugs, like, here's the thing, I feel like the mayor did a good job to keep Edison safe and secure because we don't even know who these people are. You know, I'm mentoring a 17-year-old kid from Mexico. You know what their government's telling them now? To leave their country because America is free. open borders. I had to mentor a 17-year-old kid, tell him, don't do that. You know why? Because if he tries to cross over from Mexico to the United States legally, he cannot become he cannot come back, if I'm not mistaken, for 5 years. Once you are, like, if I'm, I don't know, how can I put this as an example? Like, if I cross over, I'm American, right? But I'm an immigrant. But if I cross over and the Border Patrol gets me, I can't go back to that country. I cannot come back to the United States for 5 years, I was told, from the law itself. So I'm mentoring this 17-year-old kid from Mexico. His name is Carlos. He just lost his mom from a heart attack this September. I've been mentoring him for quite some time. He wants to become a citizen. I told him to do the right thing. We don't even know if these people, I'm glad that the mayor did the right thing. We don't even know who these people are. You have to, in order to become a United States citizen, you have to do the right thing. You have to follow the law. And if you don't follow the law, there's repercussions with these people. And now we got the cartel sneaking up fentanyl literally in the, down in the, there's so much problems I've been hearing. That's why my sister was in Arizona. They had to come back to Jersey because all of that. It was like wildfire in Arizona, Nevada, California. California doesn't know what the hell they're doing. Arizona doesn't know what to do. Nevada doesn't know what to do. All from that border, they don't know what to do because I think, if I'm not mistaken, there's been millions, hundreds of millions of people crossing the border illegally, and I just want people to just do the right thing. Just, if you want to become a citizen, follow the law. Because if I think Barack Obama said this, if you do your taxes and you follow the law, you can become a United States citizen. So we don't even know where these people are coming from. I praise the mayor on it. I got criticized as well, on Facebook. That's fine. People trying to find out where I live and all that stuff. Oh, you're just one of those wash-up Democrats. No, I'm not. I'm not a wash-up Democrat. I'm the new face of the Democrat. So thank you. And to the residents here behind me, I want to make sure that when this happens, because this is going to happen again, trust me, because New York's already having problems. If it happens again, we got to start following the procedures of how to tell them, like, hey, you can't be here. They got to go back to Texas. They have to. And there's been a lot of hate on this. I just want people to just follow the law, just do the right thing, and that's it. We're going through so much tribulations and trials of this year. There's been movies coming out. I'm not sure you guys seen the movie with, I guess, Barack Obama created the movie. I forgot when the world. I forgot the name of the movie, but Barack Obama created a movie of their documentation a couple of months ago. It got released. I watched that. That is a powerful message, but I wish they gave a little bit more insight of that movie. I'm not sure you don't know what I'm referring to. What if, okay, I'll find it right now. Hold on. What's the name of that movie real quick? If you guys want to watch it, I just watched it. It's mind-blowing. Civil War just came out. From the reflection of the day of the world stands still or something like that. I can't remember that movie, but we're going through a lot these days, and I wish people need to just come together and unite as one. I made a video yesterday. I'm not sure I tagged you guys in it, but there you go. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Benz. Anyone else would like to speak for the first time?
Thank you. I'd like to identify as Commander Benz's friend. Am I recognized?
You're recognized.
Thank you. What's up, Commander? Human Relations Committee. I want Joyce on the Human Relations Committee. I want the lady that was sitting to the left of her renewed on the Human Relations Committee. Dudash isn't here, so he can give us any updates on the predator catching case. By design, he left. Joshi, Mayor Sam Joshi, always went against the mayor when he was a councilman. Now that you are council people, he wants to strip you of the same rights that he used to enjoy. He gaslights government officials, residents, and employees that when you don't do what he wants him to do, that you're just going against the program, you're divisive, the sky's gonna start falling down. That's abuse. That's abuse, that's a lot of things. Mayor Sam Joshi and his xenophobic, racist remarks all the time. He has his hate speech against the Chinese community. We all remember that. He has his hate speech against the Muslim community. We all remember that. He has his hate speech against the Jewish community of Lakewood. If you don't remember that one, he accused the Jews of Lakewood of being the reason for the coronavirus. That was the reason Sam Joshi gave. And then he had to issue an apology, which is why I don't care how many Jewish groups give him awards. It doesn't matter to me. We all remember. I mean, when you say something like this and you got right-wing extremists listening, he could have caused that people went out and started attacking Jewish people. We had an incident during COVID where, because of the Chinese, anti-Chinese rhetoric, a Chinese person was attacked. Is Sam Joshi ever going to take responsibility for his actions? Is Sam Joshi going to apologize for when he created a meme on a government account slandering me as a neo-Nazi? No, he's not. He's immature. When Mayor Sam Joshi said, these people don't belong here, these people don't belong here, who is he? Legal asylum, see, they were granted the right to seek asylum, and he just stops them? Is this like the movie Rambo? You know the movie Rambo where that one sheriff's deputy threw the chair to Dudash. You've ever seen the movie Rambo? You remember when Rambo was harassed by the sheriff's deputy to, he's not gonna save you because I said through the chair, I'm allowed to question you. Do you remember when the cops just started messing with Rambo, saying, oh, you don't belong here? It's okay, you can talk after me, you don't have to take my time away. That's what's become of Edison Township. I'm always being thrown out of the public lobbies and harassed by a lot of these cops. Is it because they're taking orders from Mayor Sam Joshi? I thought the cops are supposed to take orders from the chief of police and from the attorney general's office. Since when do they take orders from the mayor? Unless they want to get some extra stripes on there. How much time do I have left?
2.5 minutes.
2.5 minutes. So when you see the news article, Joshi beats Joshi, what's the first thing that comes up on Google? I come up in the article. You guys can't even have a Democratic organization. Why doesn't it come up in the article that the guy who won the Edison Democratic Organization is not just the mayor's uncle, but sexually assaulted a woman, which you reported on, Mayor Dudash. Deputy Chief Dudash. It seems to me the difference between me and you is that the very same people you once reported on, you now take orders from them. We can all see that. So, yeah, I find that very disgusting that, Margot, you were vice president of the Edison Democratic Organization. I would love we have someone like you, or Joyce, or Richard Brescher. Sam's not even a Democrat. You can listen to the news, you can tell. He sounded like he was running with Trump last week. That's how I took it. I mean, legal asylum seekers, they were granted the right. They're gonna have court in New York. They got a court date in New York. You guys give them the right to seek asylum. They have a court date in New York, and then you try to stop them from going to New York? Out of all the states, out of all the cities, why didn't any other city or state stop them? Why is Edison the only one that breaks federal laws? Why is Sam Joshi always ordering the cops to break federal laws, deprivation of rights under color of law, conspiracy to deprive rights under color of law? I'm gonna write that ethics complaint. I'm gonna find out which was the who was the officer that did that order, they might, international war criminal now. You guys have graduated from civil rights violators to international war criminals. Good job. Deputy Chief Dudash, do you have any update? How much time do I have left?
34 seconds.
Do you have any update on the predator catching case? Any update? You had so much to say to Suzanne Russell. Why did the charge get downgraded from criminal restraint to harassment? How does a criminal restraint now turn to harassment? I don't have enough time to go into detail, but shame on this town. I have no respect for the Edison Police Department. I respect those two guys out there. They were very respectful today. But as a department in a whole, I have no respect for you guys. I see what you guys are doing in the community. You guys have no backbone, and you don't say to the mayor, we will not take your illegal orders. I'm sorry, I'll sit down.
Thank you. Anyone else would like to speak for the first time? All right, any rebuttals? Benz, you can come on up. Mr. Benz, the attorney will let you know if it's not a rebuttal.
I understand. I'm going to disagree with Christo for asylum seekers. Like I said before, people need to follow the law. People need to follow the law, okay? It's just a shame what's going on in these days' events. I agree with Christo. People got to follow the law. I don't care if you're silencing or not. You just have to follow the law, okay? And I guess that's it. Oh, the movie I was talking about was Leave the World Behind.
Thank you, Mr. Benz.
So please watch that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, I see no one else. Motion to close the public portion?
Motion to close?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Councilman Brusher, if you would like to provide the answers.
No, Council President, you seem to know everything, so you can do what you're going to do. And what I'm going to tell you is from now on, when the public comes and asks me a question, you can slam your gavel all you want, but I will answer the public's question, and you could have one of the officers remove me, in which case, as per the lawsuit that happened, that our resident pointed out, I'll go down that road. But no longer will I sit here and be silenced and have the public ask me questions and for you to tell me that I won't speak. And that's all that I have to say to you, sir.
Thank you,
Have
Councilman
a good
Brusher.
evening.
Have a good evening to you. Anybody else would like to make a comment? All right.
Council President, that's just not fair of Councilman Brusher. He had to wait 6 minutes. We closed the public portion for a reason, so we don't have a lot of back and forth. I admire his comments. I wish I heard them. I don't think it's a challenging issue, but I'm sorry he feels that way.
So my comment to that is I am trying to make the meetings more efficient, and I'm hoping that you can answer your questions, and I hope you do answer the question and enlighten the public, but we can do it after the public portion closes, so the other people that are waiting, I understand, you don't have the floor, Councilman Brusher. Councilman Brusher, you don't have the floor. Councilman Brusher, you don't have the floor.
Have a good day, sir.
All right, have a good night. So my point to this is that I'm trying to run a more efficient meeting, and you are more than allowed to speak your mind and allowed to answer the questions. But there are people waiting, and people that don't come to the council meetings. Some have already emailed me that they do not come because our meetings last 3 to 4 hours. So I am just trying to get this meeting to run more efficiently, and you will have your say after the council closes the public portion. Thank you.
Council President, before we adjourn, I just want to acknowledge we had the board of ed President Biral Patel who left, but we have Vice President Mr. Joe Romano who is patiently waiting and hearing this. Thank you, Joe, for coming.
Thank you, Joe. All right. Motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn?
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.